You know how I've said that I'm often on unconscious mode and I'm doing things that turn out to be wise? Well, I bought that bow for myself. Now, let me show the bow. Okay. I bought this bow when I was 10 years old with green stamps that my mother got from shopping, at grocery stores. Here's the bow here in our attic. And it's if you look down on the bow here, it tells you what kind of bow it is. If I can get that. It's some kind of a pony bow, whatever that says there. It's what does that say? It looks, I can't read it. Well, I can't read that. Pony 760 inch. Now, I don't know what that means in terms of archery. It's a real weak bow. I don't know. I bought it when I was 10, and when I got it, I thought, wow, this is like a dangerous weapon. Well, I'm saying to myself, here I am using this bow, thinking, I'm not allowed to own a gun because I've been declared to be crazy in an absolutely fraudulent wrecking of my life by liars in the United States, liars and cheats that have wrecked my life with lies. So I'm not allowed to own a gun like my grandfathers, each of whom had a loaded shotgun beside his favorite chair at home. Okay? I'm not allowed to own a gun like that. So it turns out that me buying this bow when I was 10 was a damn good idea. And I can't buy a shotgun to defend my house, but I have this bow. Now, I was declared to be crazy when I was 28 years old, but I got the bow when I was 10. Now, am I allowed to own that bow? I don't know. I haven't looked into the laws, but I got the bow when I was 10. Now, I have seen that in certain states, there are now laws where if someone has a gun, folks who know that the person has the gun can request that the gun be taken away from that person. This person is not necessarily considered to be crazy or anything. It's just someone they figure that shouldn't own that gun for whatever reason. It's the person's acting in ways that make the person unworthy to own a gun or untrustworthy. So I am aware there is that kind of thing out there. Now, I'm not threatening anybody with my bow, okay? And I gotta say, man, I'm amazed that bow is in my life at all. I'm in my 70s shooting that bow in my attic occasionally. Okay, well, let me get off the idea that the bow is a defense mechanism for my house, right? But in a way, let's put it this way. When I was 10, this was 3 years after I'm saying you're man of the year. America's man of the year murdered my step grandfather. Okay? And I was present when your man of the year here, the great doctor, was mocking my step grandfather for owning guns, mocking him as if those guns were not going to do him any good if somebody wanted to do away with him. And they didn't do him any good. The step grandfather had two beautiful guns, rifles, and he was murdered anyway. Didn't help him, right? So when I was 10, uh, uh, my mother says to me, I got these green stamps. We want to get something? Looking through this book and see if you'd like something in there. Well, I looked all through the book and I saw this bow and arrow and I said, I like this. But I wasn't interested in archery at the time at all. This was 3 years after, however, that murder, that suspected murder, let's call it, when I had heard from the mockery of your man of the year here, your great doctor who got the 21 gun salute and was severely abusing me through my youth. He's mocking guns. Guns aren't going to do you any good. So I got a bow and arrow when I was 10. Maybe that's why I got it, because, unconsciously I was responding to the abuse, the severe abuse I was living under. And I figured, okay, guns aren't going to do you any good. Let me get a bow and arrow. Maybe that was the unconscious reason for why I did that. Now, as I've said in many of these notes, I go on repeating myself because, as Northrop Frye said, he would never trust a man who didn't repeat himself, right? I shot that bow when I got it, age 10, like 2 or 3 times in the backyard. That was all. Using a steep hill that went up like this in the backyard. Okay, so I'm aiming at a target that I don't think I was even aiming at a target. I just shot into the hill. And I shot 2 or 3 arrows into that hill, and I was thinking, this is a dangerous weapon. I didn't know I was going to get something this professional. And I put that thing away, and I never shot it again until I was around 65 years old. Now, the string for the bow had disappeared. The arrows had long disappeared, but the bow itself was still with me. Somehow it had survived, and I got a string for it and some arrows. And once in a while, I'm practicing with it. Kind of like a hobby, a sport, archery. And I tell you what, I would have preferred to shoot rifles because I was quite good with a rifle. I was shooting 22 rifles as part of my summer camp experiences when I was around that age, 10, 11, 12. And I was winning all the medals for National Rifle Association, on up to greater and greater proficiency with the rifle. And I kind of enjoyed, marksmanship with a rifle. And, but, I'm not allowed to own a gun. So also, when my grandfather passed away, he had 2 rifles. He had his shotgun, and he had this small 22 rifle, which he allowed me to shoot. I think I'm the only grandchild that might have even seen that gun. There's no way I'm going to find out. And let me just stop there. And well, he allowed me to shoot this 22 rifle up at his place, and I was good with that. So, but when he passed away, okay, America's Man of the Year, he gave anything he might have got from that father to his sister. He said, "You take it." He didn't want a thing, so my grandfather, I guess he hadn't designated. Oh, I want this to go to that. No, he owned almost nothing. But had I had a chance, I might have said, "Hey, I'd like to have that rifle," but no, I didn't even get a chance. So, well, I'm not allowed to own a gun, and I'm not crying about that. I mean, I don't want to be a hunter. I've never thought about shooting a person or a living thing, and I haven't thought about that with my bow either. I don't think about shooting a person. I just don't. But so I am practicing with the bow and arrow as kind of like a hobby, a skill. And what I'd say I'm doing is I'm shooting Cupid's arrows. Okay, so recently, I was saying that I set this photo up in our attic, and it reminded me of a scene in that movie Deliverance, where these kayakers are being threatened in a life and death struggle with these hillbillies who they've come into conflict with, while these kayakers are on a little outing to go kayaking down a river in North Carolina they find themselves in conflict with these hillbillies just because they ran into them and the hillbillies didn't like them and they didn't like the hillbillies. And now they're in a life and death struggle. Well, at one point toward the climax of that movie, the actor played by John Voight, he's one of the kayakers. He sees this hillbilly up there with a shotgun, and he's thinking, well, the guy's going to shoot us, me, whatever. And so he shoots an arrow at this guy, and for a moment, you're not able to see where that arrow goes. Now, the next second, you see that even though it doesn't seem like the arrow's hit, because the guy starts raising his gun up like this to shoot, he falls over because he has been hit right through the neck. Now, I put your photo, Sayaka Bishuasi, up on our furnace, and it's like it's reminiscent of that scene, so that when the light on is up there, I can't see your face in that photo. Okay, and so that light has to be turned off, and then okay, you see it's your face when the light's coming from a different direction. Otherwise, there's like a haze of light behind the photo, and you can't see. I can show that right now. The only thing is, I don't want to show the face of the person here because I don't want to be taken to court under false accusations with reference to this thing here. So there's the photo up there. You see the light playing on it? That is the photo of a person. Let's just say that. And you cannot see who it is. Okay? So that was reminiscent of that scene. So what I was saying to myself in interpretation, I shot an arrow in there the other day, and I hit what I thought I consider a dead-on bullseye arrow. And so I was saying to myself in interpretation, since I'm shooting Cupid's arrows, that when I said, Bishuasi, that moment when you started to give a report after your final regular appearance as a presenter on TV, you started into your report, you said, and your voice went like this. It went like this. Let's say you get a report. Today, like that. Oh, excuse me. And I immediately said, you were just hit in the throat by the microwave weapon that's been being used on me for 40 years. I said, there's the evidence. It's caught on camera. So all these meanings in experience come together now in this hillbilly who gets hit in the throat by the arrow. And what I'm saying is, although I haven't been able to directly communicate with you in over 3.5 years of trying, not quite 3.5 years, I believe that I have hit you with a Cupid's arrow. And with that Cupid, what does a Cupid's arrow do? Do I need to explain? So that Cupid's arrow has hit you, and you are in what happens to a person when they get hit by Cupid's arrow. So I've hit you. Just like in that movie, well, that guy's up against somebody who's trying to harm him, right? And as far as I know, you've never been trying to harm me. But, we're talking symbols here and analogies and all. And so did I hit you with my Cupid's arrow? Did I or did I not? Because look, if I missed you, right, then I've wasted almost 3.5 years of my life, and I'm coming to the end of my life, right? So there is a certain analogy when there's a life and death element to what I'm thinking about you and the time I'm spending and the thought I'm devoting to the entire experience that I think is there between you and me. So there are certain levels where this person, you looking at me, might be someone who could harm me if I miss with that Cupid zero. You see, there is an element of closeness, let's call it, between these two symbolic moments. And so what I'm saying is, I did hit you with my Cupid zero, and it could be that when I made a video explaining that you just got hit by that microwave weapon, you said to yourself, "He's right. I did get hit by that weapon. He's right." And for that reason, the effect of a Cupid zero took full hold of you from that moment on, possibly. Bye for now.